have the key off right now, and I have a 0.23 amp Parasitic Draw coming from my courtesy fuse right here, CTSY. I'm trying to track it down right now to see what we can get to try to fix this. Alright guys, so I finally figured out the Parasitic Draw, so I'm just going to recap it here. So narrowed it down on the fuse, narrowed down to the courtesy fuse by just pulling it one by one and then monitoring to see if the amperage draw was still there. Drawing about 0.2 amps with a multimeter attached in line. I'll show you in a little bit on how to do that. So I narrowed it down to the courtesy lamp, and then I looked at the diagram online on the GMT 400 website, and I noticed that it's connected to the convenience center, which is below the fuse panel right here, and also had one out to the radio. So my first instincts were the radio, since I just changed out my dash and I just put in a new radio, a new CDM. It's laying on the floor now because I just took it out to test it. So once I took out the radio, I still had the amp draw, so I continued on down the troubleshooting steps, realized it wasn't the radio. So then my eyes were on the convenience center here. So I was checking the voltage, or I'm sorry, the amperage up here, and I had my multimeter plugged into where the fuse was at, and my battery plugged in so I could still see that there was amps being drawn. And then I started unpulling these plugs here. Started off with the one on the bottom. It didn't work. So then I started up at the top where these two green connectors are. I don't know if you can see those. But then I ended up on the second green connector. See if I can, there we go. This one right here has a orange on top, I'm sorry, a white on top and a orange on bottom. It's orange 40, and I forgot what the white is. So and then that narrowed it. So once I pulled that, then I stopped getting the amperage draw when I was connected to the fuse panel. So from there, that narrowed it down even further. It narrowed it down to the courtesy lamps, which are these guys here that hang on the bottom of your dash for your floorboard. The cigarette lighter right there, and then also the glove compartment light. There's a little switch in there, and then the dome up here. So I narrowed it down even farther. So from there, I connected the multimeter and in line with the battery, and just noticed that there was an amperage of, or there's an amperage pull of 0.2. So that's what actually was the final clue that helped me narrow down what it was. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So first I pulled the tape off here. So right now the door is open, so the dome light should be turned on whenever I plug in the battery. But when I plug in the battery, I'm going to have the multimeter in line, so we'll be able to see how many amps are being drawn to power the courtesy lamps and the dome with the door open. So all right, so I'm going to put my multimeter on amps. I'm going to do 10 amps. And I'm going to take my leads. Oops. I'll take my leads, I'm going to connect them, complete that circuit, and then I can notice it's 0.9 amps on the multimeter. So that's how much draw is being for my dome lights, and I can actually see my dome lights come on whenever I connect the circuit here. So 0.9 amps. All right, so I know that's not it because my parasitic draw is 0.2 amps. So I'm going to plug that back up by putting the tape here or just closing the door. So that circuit's now closed, so there's no more amps being drawn. So now I checked my cigarette lighter. It was not 0.2 amps. So lastly, I opened the glove compartment. This little light, there's a little light there and a little switch right there. So now that's activated. If the light was working, it would come on right now. Mine's not. So now let's see how many amps it's pulling. Look at that, 0.23, which is the exact amount that I was having for my parasitic draw. So I'm gonna go back over there. I'm gonna close off that switch nice and good. Oop. I prepared the switch in there so it's no longer open. Let's see if there's anything being pulled now. .00 amps being pulled. All right, so that's no more parasitic draw right there. So it was my glove compartment the entire time. So that's how you could do it by troubleshooting. If you have a ground, you could do the same thing. You could just plug in one of your leads into the right side here and then test your ground to see where it's going on. Unfortunately, mine was really simple, but I did a lot of stuff and finally got to it. But I did learn a lot on how to chase down a parasitic draw. So hopefully that solves it and my battery stops dying. So hopefully this helps somebody, and have a good day.